Strides are not purely for speed. There's other benefits that you can get from it, and you're going to find out exactly what that is in this video. Hello everyone, welcome back to another video. Today we'll be talking about strides, how you can apply it to your training, when you should do it, all the details that you want to know. So let's get right into it. We're going to start with the basics, but we're definitely getting into misconceptions and an example of me doing strides at the end. So make sure you watch the whole video. And if you're feeling like having a chat, make sure to comment below when you do strides and why you do them, and see if it correlates to what I say in the rest of the video. I definitely want to hear your thoughts on strides. So firstly, let's define what a stride is. A stride is simply an acceleration of speed from a comfortable range to almost max speed, but not all out. You want to make sure to do it with really good form though. And also in between the strides, you want to take about 45 to 60 seconds of jogging or walking or standing to kind of recover, and then you can do your next one. Okay, so the why is probably the most important part, because I like intentional training. I like doing everything for a reason. So the reason why we do strides is for the neuromuscular benefit. If you go to the gym, a lot of people will talk about mind-muscle connection or something like that, and it's pretty much the same thing as that. It's your nervous system recruiting the right muscle fibers in order to get you from point A to point B in the most efficient way possible without over-recruiting or recruiting unnecessary muscle fibers, which is counterproductive. So to elaborate a little bit on this, when you first get into running, you don't have the perfect form, you're probably not as efficient yet, you're probably recruiting random muscle fibers that aren't helping out, and you might even recruit opposite muscles, because one might flex the joint and the other might extend the joint, and they're working against each other, which is not really helpful. But as you do these strides more often and get used to running a little bit quicker, you will start to recruit the right muscle fibers, because you're teaching your brain how to run with good form. And you can't really run fast without having good form. So it's a natural process that occurs if you just constantly do it. Right, so this leads us on nicely to when and where we should do strides. Firstly, where we can do strides, pretty diverse. As long as you don't have a lot of people blocking the way or traffic lights or anything like that, you could technically do it on any straight that you find. Whether it's a road like this where you got a huge straight, you can do it on the grass over here. That's pretty good as well. And finally, it's also good to do it on hills sometimes. I think it's good to rotate, and if you're doing it once a week or whatever, it's nice to kind of switch it up, do some on the hills, do some on the concrete, do some on the grass. That'll keep it a bit more fresh. So yeah, this is all stuff that you can do once a week. You don't have to do all 3 types of strides every single week. I tend to feel pretty lazy and I just do it once a week kind of thing. Sometimes I don't even do it, but now that I'm filming this video, I should be doing it every single week. I recommend you do the strides in the second half of the run, and you don't need to fixate on when exactly to do it. If you come across a good area to do strides, you can just do it then at that moment. A lot of people religiously do the strides at the end of the run, but you might not always have a great place to do it at the end of the run. So that's something good to consider, and I always do it sometime in the second half of my runs, as long as the location is good for it. So another time that I like doing strides is the day before a race, or the day before a key session or a workout or whatever. When I'm doing more of a meaningful run the next morning, I like doing strides the afternoon before. So let's talk about one misconception of strides. A lot of people think that it's for the speed stimulus, and while it does give you a little bit of that, it's not really for VO2 max specifically, because VO2 max is more to do with oxygen consumption. So it's important to not confuse the two together. You're still getting different benefits from it. Going back to the start, we're doing strides for the purpose of neuromuscular connection and activating the right muscle fibers and recruiting the right muscle fibers, not for the oxygen consumption benefit. You'll notice that you're not really breathing hard at the end of the strides. It's not meant to be a super hard thing to do, but because of this, the most important thing is actually to run it with good form. You don't want to break your form at all. You want to work at a comfortable speed where we're being really efficient with our form. Otherwise, this whole stride thing is pointless. So remember that it's all about form when it strides. Adding on to this, as a person that coaches 20 people online, I like to remind all these runners that if you make 3-minute pace look smoother, your 4-minute pace is going to look even more smooth. So there is benefit to making faster paces look easy, feel easy, because it just gives you that extra leeway to make those slower paces feel even easier and even more smooth. So some people might be wondering, who are strides really for? Are they actually for me, or is it only for fast people that take running seriously? It's actually for everyone. Like, honestly, anyone can do it. You're going to benefit from it regardless. Even if you're running recreationally, you'll probably notice that you're going to get more efficient with your running form. So that could help you. Even if you don't have a performance goal, I think it's worth doing. So anyone can do it. You don't have to do it, but there are benefits that everyone can reap from this. Okay, so now we're going to talk about the watch and how I use the watch for my strides. So a lot of people like practicing using the lap button, but I think it's important to know that when you are doing a stride, depending on when you run into the stride and then hit the lap button, or press the lap button and then start the stride, you can really alter the average pace that you get. So I think with strides, you should completely forget about pace anyway, so don't really fixate on pace. The main benefit is it's actually kind of fun hitting the lap button, and also if you are doing threshold workouts where you manually lap, it's good practice for that anyway. So even if you don't look at the strides yourself, it's good to hit the lap button, get the hang of it, but again, don't fixate on it. So you might get really different paces in terms of the strides based on, again, how you do it, when you press it, when you end it. So again, don't fixate on pace is the main thing, but fixate on the form. You want the form to be really good all the time. All right, so come along for a stride. Let me show you how it's done. Alrighty, time to do a stride. And now I'm just doing a little bit of a recovery jog or walk even. Doesn't matter what you do in between, as long as you recover. But you might notice that I'm not breathing hard. It's not meant to be a hard effort. It's actually not meant to be a hard thing. You're not running for long enough to actually trigger the oxygen consumption. So you can breathe a little bit hard, that's fine. But you shouldn't be like completely out of breath. Again, we're working on form, neuromuscular connection. The main purpose was to get that good form in, and also it actually is a good way to get blood flow to your legs, so surprisingly it could be good for recovery too. Not that you should do it so much and all the time, but it's still a good tool to use in your training. And as I always mention, variety in training is really important, and this is going to add another type of stimulus into your training, which is always going to be beneficial anyway. And I know some people like to fixate on how long a stride should be, like 100 meters or 120 or 150, 15 seconds, 20 seconds. It actually doesn't really matter. I kind of go by feel. I go and then I kind of stop when I feel like I'm starting to work hard. So for the first little bit when you're just accelerating, it shouldn't actually feel too bad. And once your form starts to break down, even that tiny little bit, that's when I stop, because I want the whole stride to be perfect form. So I kind of judge when the end of that perfect form is. So that could change depending on the day, depending on how tired you are. I think right now, with so much running on my legs in the past 7 days, I'm a bit more tired, so I don't think my form was perfect today, but that's why my strides were a little bit shorter, maybe even a little bit slower. Otherwise, I don't think my form would have been great. A couple other things I wanted to mention. I actually didn't warm up today before doing those strides that I demonstrated, so they didn't actually feel that great. So another good reason to remember that it's good to do it in the middle of the run or near the end of the run or at the end of the run. And also, if you want to know how to incorporate strides in your warm-up, whether it's for a workout or a race, make sure to watch my video on how to warm up, because I talk about my 4-step warm-up routine that I have for fast workouts and races as well. Another little piece of advice is to do strides when you feel like it. Don't force yourself to do it on a particular day where you don't feel like it. So don't pick like Monday a stride day. Just make sure you kind of feel the run, and then if you're feeling up for it on that given day during the run, that's when I would do it. That's how I do my strides personally. I don't force myself to do it when I'm not feeling like it. Thank you so much for watching this video as usual. Leave a like and also comment below, would you rather do strides during every single run for the rest of your life or no strides at all for the rest of your life? One or the other. You can't choose something in the middle. Let me know what you would choose, and also subscribe to see more content from me. Let me know what you want to see next as well. I'm looking for video ideas, so comment that down below, and I'll see you in the next one.